everyone. We're going to be doing our how to improve your art fast, or as fast as you can, because, that can be like, take it at your own pace. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm Mari. And
I'm Janet.
And yeah, let's get into this.
Yeah.
Okay, improvement is all about confidence, and your improvement journey is dictated by you only. And nobody but yourself can really choose your path for you. And it's not like a linear path. So there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. And even if you see a decline, it doesn't mean that your art's getting worse. I will go into that later. But yeah, think about it as fun rather than a chore, because this is a really important thing. And yeah, you just want to keep art fun in your mind, because otherwise it's just going to become work and you're not going to lose the passion. And the passion's really important. And another thing, don't think about where you fall short compared to other people. Think about what you're good at and what you can amplify to be stronger, because you want to bring up your strengths when trying to improve rather than bring yourself down. Because being like, oh, I'm not as good as other people, and this person, like, they render better than me, or they can draw bodies better than me, that's not going to help you improve. And the main motivation is saying, oh, what am I good at? And what can I learn from that and use that to help me kind of amplify my weaknesses? And yeah. So some general tips on what to look for, like what to look at for your art improvement journey, like in terms of like mindset, is like, not everything you make is going to be a masterpiece. So don't be afraid to make something ugly, because even ugly pieces are going to help you down the line to create something that can be a masterpiece. And not everything you make is going to be the best thing you've ever made as well. So, and that's more than just okay. Like, if you make something, you go, something that I drew last week was better, that doesn't mean that it says anything about, oh, I'm doing worse. It just means that, because like, we have our on and off days, and that's okay. And also, art regression, that's a myth. That term is not real. It's just basically your eyes, your brain, and your motor functions aren't like matching up. So you're just like, oh, my art looks bad. But that's just your brain telling you that I kind of know what I have to do to improve it. So you have to like take that into account and then work towards that goal, instead of being like, oh, my art's bad, I'm not going to draw for a week because it sucks. And like I said, you can't improve if you don't try new things. And also, believe in yourself, #trust the process. Yeah. A main thing that you can do to really help yourself is drawing every day. I know it can be hard to keep up with art and the stresses of life. Finals are incoming, but drawing for 15 minutes a day can be critical to keeping up with improvement, because it keeps those like muscles kind of going. Like, think of art as like a sport. Like, you need to train for that marathon, and like even running like a mile a day is going to help you in the long run keep up your like stamina. And it's really important to see like art as something fun, like what I brought up earlier, because it keeps you like personally motivated. And I think drawing what makes you happy first is really important. So I like to draw fan art to like get my stuff started before I go into studies. And that really helps me kind of like get into art and just kind of enjoy the process more than just being like, oh, I have to draw 20 figure studies today, or I have to draw a background. Just try to start it really casually. And then I can say that this is like probably the most important thing you can do if you want to improve quickly. And if you do this, like, you will see like natural improvement, like even without trying. And even if you're not doing studies, if you're keeping up with drawing every day and kind of like looking at references and using it in your work, you will see like improvement.
Yeah, and if you struggle with like motivation or like being disciplined, sometimes it can help to like participate in like daily challenges, because it's fun to like draw with other people. And like these kinds of challenges can help keep you consistent, especially with like support from the artist community, who are also doing the challenge with you. These can be like silly doodles or like full-on illustrations. Depending on your schedule, it's important not to like stress yourself out with these things, but like it's a fun way to exercise your creative muscles. Some examples are like Inktober, which is really popular, and Mermaid. And if you just look it up, there are like a bunch of smaller ones for like every month. And there's also something called like the 100 Heads Challenge, where you draw like 100 heads in like 10 days. It's a great way to like learn and like develop your skills.
So in terms of sketchbooks, I know this is a digital art club, but I really, really recommend people to get a physical sketchbook because there's just something so nice about having a tactile thing that you can carry around everywhere. And, you know, I prefer to sketch with a physical sketchbook over digital. I'm not saying that like this is the only way. You can do it however you want. But the great thing about a tactile sketchbook is that there's no zoom tool, which allows you kind of just to get the form down instead of worrying about the little details. Because whenever I sketch digitally, I find myself zooming in on every little thing, trying to make it perfect. But when you're sketching, that's not really needed. So try to focus on the overall form rather than the tiny little details, because you can always go back later and add the details over the sketch digitally, or it doesn't have to be perfect if you want to try to get the overall gesture, which is the most important thing when you're just trying to like get something down on the page. And we can fix drawings that we've made. We can fix sketches, but you can't fix like a blank page. So it's good to get something down, even if it's fast and quick and like not perfect. And yeah, sometimes focusing on details, you can really start to obsess over little things like, oh, is the structure right? Does the hands look okay? But sometimes that's not necessary, like right off the bat, and you don't have to worry about that until later down the line. Yeah, another good thing that you can do is like challenge yourself to use the eraser like only when you need to, because and like I said with like the zoom tool, stop using the back button so often on pieces. You'll try to only use it when necessary. Like of course you're gonna still want to use the eraser or like the back tool, but try to cut down on the time that you spend obsessing over the little details, because it'll help boost your confidence, and confidence is key. And also another thing that I can say is like try not to chicken scratch. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically when you're drawing a circle, like you don't just do this, you like fill in the little lines with little lines, and it could be sometimes counterproductive. Well, it might seem as like you're refining your lines, like it's only hindering you because you're like trying to like focus on like the little details, and you want to build up that confident stroke, because that's really key in creating quickly and also just like getting things down confidently. And try to see what you can make in 15 to 30 minutes. Pull up a reference and draw what you see, or transform it in a way that you think works well, because you never know where this might take you. And the more that you do this and try to get things down quickly, you will see that your art will start improving, and then you can start going back in and spending more time on drawings, and you will find that you have since you know how to get things down quickly, like a basic sketch, you can start adding the details and it'll come together a lot more seamlessly than if you were just kind of going in blind and working for 3 hours straight and then going, I don't really like this. Get out of your comfort zone. I don't want to hear the phrase, I'm bad at blank. No, you're not. The phrase is used when you haven't done it enough, and if you aren't good at something, it just means that you lack the confidence to execute it in the way that you want to. I hear a lot of artists saying oh, I can't draw backgrounds or environments for my characters. Go draw one. That's the only way that I can say you will get better. And no excuses, because you can't be bad at something without trying. And if you think about it, a musician at some point never knew how to play their instrument. You may never know that you're really good at drawing an environment if you never try, because you just have to try basically everything to know. And everything takes practice in art. You can't just be a natural beginner, a natural expert, I meant. Yeah, this is just another tangent, but what I said before, this is my art from 2020. As you can see, I would do the 3/4 angle character cut off at the shoulders, and I was like, oh, this is just my style. This is just my style, and it stagnated my art for so long until I was like, stop this. You need to break free, and I did. Yeah, you will only begin to see large strides in your work if you make the effort to draw differently than you do, because the little things build up, and then eventually you see the progression.
Another exercise and warm-up you can do is quick poses, where you look at the lines of action of a pose. You could do this by looking at photo references or going outside and finding real people, and it kind of doing it in real life helps put you into doing it quickly and getting the gist of something, the whole body, and not focusing too much on one area. And it's great for like a great starting point for like drawing dynamic figures. So like with these, you can look at lines of action in like the spine or like the hips and shoulders. The angles really give a lot to like make something dynamic, and you have to think like big picture.
Observational art. You know, if you're part of stamps, you had to take drawing observation. And I hear a lot of people complaining about it, but you know, it is necessary. I'm going to say this, you know, go outside, touch some grass, find something fun to draw. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, it's really fun actually once you kind of get into it. And I can say like just understanding how to draw something from a reference and drawing something like you see outside can really help you draw whatever you want to down the line. So go draw a plant, go draw a boat or a building, whatever you're seeing, whatever piques your interest, because it's actually really fun. Okay, digital painting can be very overwhelming. And, you know, we all have seen our, like, millions of brushes. If you open my Procreate, there are billions of brushes on there, like a million different foliage brushes. And, you know, that can be really overwhelming. But, you know, finding the right brush too, and finding something you're comfortable with, that's kind of like, you really want to try to do that, but it can be really hard. So I say like practice with like a limited set of brushes, probably more basic brushes to start, probably like a round brush or a tapered brush like tinderbox, and like a rectangle brush, because that's really all you need to make a piece like cohesive. And like, yeah, these are my go-to brushes. I have tinderbox and Nico Roll. They're both Procreate like pre-downloaded brushes, so you can try them out. And like do like soft rendering, halftone, cell shading, and you can practice with the three brushes that match your taste, and just basically try to make something that looks cool. And yeah, you will basically build up the muscles to like kind of understand where to use these more like crazy brushes later on, just by using the regular ones. Tracing is kind of a bad word in the art community, right? But you know, I think it can be a great tool if you use it correctly. Tracing can be a great tool for beginners. I can say that when I was starting out with my background paintings, I would a lot of the time I would look at like, I would run around in Breath of the Wild and I would take a screenshot and I would kind of draw over it and then kind of redraw it in my style. So yeah, tracing can be a great way to study environment painting, or like you can try tracing over a photograph and then kind of redraw the reference, because then you'll kind of build up the muscles to understand like the forms of what's going on and kind of develop that muscle memory when it comes to drawing, which can be really good. Because like if you draw a rock a few times, you'll kind of understand like how other rocks are like drawn as well. So this can really help you just get down that muscle memory really fast, and I think it's really great. You can also bring this up even more if you use photo bashing, which is basically just making your own photo reference by slapping a bunch of different photos together. And then, yeah, it can be a really good tool to use. I might just say avoid tracing other people's drawings, which is, you know, kind of a given.
Another thing is to not be afraid of trying out different art styles. Try not to feel shackled by your art style. It's great to like learn from different art styles on like how to simplify things if you need to make them small, or like if you want to go for like a project that's like in a different realm. You can learn a lot from like other people's art styles and like taking like, or like figuring out what you like to like help with your art style evolution. A fun challenge you can do is to try drawing the same character in different art styles, which is like realistic, cartoon, anime, pixel. Like there's a lot of things that you can explore with that.
And then also going off this, studying like art styles from other artists can really be great, because while like I know some people kind of bring up that thing, it's like, oh, I don't want to steal someone's art style. But like when you're studying someone's art style, that's not really what you're doing. Because I feel like even if you're trying to completely copy someone's art style, it's still going to have you in it. Like you're the one who made it, and it's still going to have different things that like differentiate it from you. Because I feel like no art style is like truly unique, right? We all like kind of mix different things that we have been inspired by to create our art style. And if you find something that you like in someone else's art style, you can try to implement it in yours, and you can use their strengths to your advantage and implement them into your own work. Yeah, like it just kind of like stops you from being so like shackled to like your art style, like what Janet talked about, because if you never change the way that you draw, you're never going to see improvements or strides. Just understanding how other people draw things can really help you develop your own. And also, you can develop your own exercises for art improvement. There's no step-by-step guide on how to improve your art. And some fun things that I do is do you like Pokemon, Animal Crossing? You can use them as character design practice and make a Gajinka. If you don't know what that is, it's like a human version of a creature or character. And you can also take foods, animals, plants, or any items and turn them into characters, which can be really fun and a really nice character design idea. You can turn your figure studies into your favorite characters, which also just keeps you motivated to go. And also, redrawing dynamic screen caps from your favorite movies, animes, or games can also be really fun because the composition's already there. And you're just kind of interpreting it into your art style, which can be really helpful to seeing how to render and how to basically take elements from that and turning it into yours. The importance of critique. Yes, critique is very important. It can be really scary. I'm not going to say that I have not gotten critique and I've kind of been butthurt over critique in my life. That's all I'm going to say. But it's a necessary part of art improvement, and critique really helps you see your art in a new light, and getting feedback can help expand your art skills and abilities. And there's a difference between helpful critique and unhelpful critique, and what you can take from these. I just say you can choose what to interpret for critique. Try it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. That's all I'm going to say. Some unhelpful critique. This looks bad. That's not constructive. You got to ask follow-up questions to get an answer. Is what part needs improvement? What can I be doing better? Yeah. How does this look? And usually that's just people being annoying and trying to bring you down, which no, we don't want. Don't let that get to you, because they probably, honestly, anyone who says this is not an artist, and they cannot say anything. Some helpful critique is, focusing on what you can improve, and they can be gentle or harsh depending on what you need, but ultimately there is information there to help you improve. And the best critique is constructive, but still kind, with your best interest in mind, and the person is not likely going out of your way to of their way to insult you. And it might sting for a second because you spend a lot of time on your work and you're proud of it, and seeing someone being hey, the hand looks weird, or maybe fix the facial structure, can kind of make you upset. But you got to pick yourself up and maybe try to use their critique in mind to just and if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. I'm just saying, give it a try. It'll probably work out. And guys, we have a really cool activity for you. I want you to draw something outside of your comfort zone. You could try a new style, draw something that you say you can't do, or go draw some quick figure poses. And then when you're done, send it to submissions. And yeah, that's our workshop. Yay!
Wait, guys, we have a question. We got a question. You can listen in because someone might benefit from this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the question is, when it comes to drawing something, which of these components would you prioritize in order? Structure, form, shape, lining, shadowing, detailing. I say structure and form definitely comes first, because that's basically what you're putting down on the page first. I know some people really like to kind of make structures out of boxes and cylinders, where me personally, I just like to kind of just go at it and just kind of draw the contours. There's no really correct way to do this, but I say whatever you find is the quickest and easiest way for you to get down that structure is the best way. And then afterwards, you can focus on different details, which are basically lining and shadowing and detailing. I think afterwards, after structure comes shadows. If you're doing that, I feel lighting is very important to creating a really believable piece. So kind of understanding form and lighting can really help bring your pieces out, because I feel lining and detailing can all be down to style, and that's really up to you, where making a believable structure and having a believable light source is very important to having a good piece. Yeah.
Amazing question. Thank you. Thank you.
Yay! Yay.
Thanks.